Hello and welcome to Brewers Daily. I'm your host, Dave Gasper. Lots to get to here on the show today. We're going to be talking about the starting rotation. We also got some theme nights news to be talking about as well. And, of course, the World Baseball Classic wrapping up last night. But I want to start with the pitching rotation for the Milwaukee Brewers. Brandon Woodruff. So, one of the big questions that the Brewers have had here is, will Brandon Woodruff be ready for opening day? And the Brewers have yet to name their opening day starter. Will it be Woodruff? Will it be Jacob Misiorowski instead? That's still to be determined. Pat Murphy has not named who it will be. But we are looking ahead here at the probable starters here that the Brewers have named, because Brewers did not play on Tuesday. They are back in action here on Wednesday, and they've got a split squad game here today. So you got two games today. And then Brandon Woodruff pitches on Thursday. Now, Thursday is 1 week before opening day. So, if Brandon Woodruff is going to start opening day, that is going to be his last outing of the spring. And we're kind of coming up on that kind of area regardless towards the end of spring here. There's only a handful of games left. Then you have the exhibitions back in Milwaukee. But if Brandon Woodruff is going to pitch opening day, it is going to be heavily dependent on how he feels coming out of that outing coming up tomorrow, coming up Thursday here against the Texas Rangers. Okay, because look, he's only had one outing in the Cactus League prior to this. Now, granted, he has had the bullpen sessions, the simulated games on the backfields. The Brewers haven't put him out there in Cactus League play. They don't need to. There's other ways to get your arm built up. There's other ways to get the pitches and the pitch count, the innings. There's other ways to get that built up. It doesn't need to be in Cactus League action, especially for a guy like Brandon Woodruff. He's been around the block a time or two. He knows how it goes. He knows how to get his body ready for the regular season. So the answer that we're all looking for in terms of who's going to be the opening day starter, I would imagine we're going to get that shortly after the outing on Thursday here, when Brandon Woodruff knows how he feels coming out of that. How many pitches is he going to be built up to? Is he going to be built up to 5 ups? Is he going to try and get to 6 ups? How far is he going to be able to go into the game? How will his body respond to that start as well? If he responds well, feels good, I would imagine he would then have that full 6 days of rest and then be ready to go on opening day. So that's really kind of how I'm viewing this possibility here of if Woodruff will be ready or not. I think it's going to be heavily reliant on this next game coming up tomorrow. How he pitches, how far he's able to go, how far he can get built up, and how his body responds afterwards. So hopefully Friday or Saturday shortly after, we will get the answer of who is starting on opening day. Will it be Woodruff? Will it be Misiorowski? They've said opening day is not the goal for Woodruff, but I think if it's possible to have him ready for opening day, have him ready for that first turn through the rotation. Again, even if it's just 5 innings that he's able to go, I think that is what the Brewers would like to do, but we will see how Brandon Woodruff's body responds. So that's going to be a big test coming up tomorrow. But for today's game, today's split squad games, the Brewers have 2 starters, obviously. Aaron Ashby is one of them. The other is Kyle Harrison. Kyle Harrison will pitch against Seattle, so he'll be on the road game at Seattle. And then Aaron Ashby will pitch the home game against the Los Angeles Angels. And Ashby is continuing to get starts here later in spring training. Now, when I talked about the rotation a couple of days ago, I said that I think Aaron Ashby could be that 5th starter for this rotation. And certainly, if it tracks with Brandon Woodruff there being in the rotation, the day before, that would be Aaron Ashby getting that 5th start. But Ashby continuing to start is very, very interesting because the Brewers have used him as a bullpen piece in recent years, and they're still stretching him out in case they need him. But to still get these starts, to still be getting stretched out at this point, and stretching out a little bit more, I think it says a lot more to his candidacy for that final starting rotation spot. If you have Woodruff go, it'll be Woodruff, Misiorowski, Chad Patrick, and then I'd imagine Kyle Harrison will be in there, and then it's probably between Ashby and Sproat for that final spot in the rotation. And perhaps, for the time being, they could have Ashby be that guy. Perhaps he's proven himself capable of it, and they want to get him into that rotation because if they can get Ashby into the rotation, at least to start here, that does open up some possibilities with the bullpen as well. Because right now, if Aaron Ashby's in the bullpen, you're very left-handed heavy. You got 5 lefties and 3 righties in that Brewers bullpen. I'd like a little bit more balance there. Don't get me wrong, I love having a bunch of lefties available, but I'd like to see another right-hander in there for the Brewers to go with. And if you have Ashby move into that kind of role, I'm not sure if they would move Sproat into the long relief type role that Ashby has been in, but Sproat could maybe buy some more time down in AAA, and then maybe that opens up a spot for a Craig Yoho to come in, or an Easton McGee to come in as that extra right-handed reliever for the bullpen. I think that's very much a possibility on the table here, and especially considering that Ashby is still starting in Cactus League play, I think that does lend to that possibility that the Brewers are considering. Then you have 2 lefties in the starting rotation, along with Kyle Harrison, and then you can be more balanced there in your bullpen. So Aaron Ashby continuing to start is something to monitor here as spring training is going to be wrapping up here fairly soon, because we are 8 days away from opening day. It is coming up fast, so they're going to have to get these roster spots lined up. Roles will obviously fluctuate throughout the year, but at least initially, Aaron Ashby seems to be tracking to potentially be in that starting rotation. Okay, I want to talk about this because this just brings so much nostalgia and warmth to my heart. So the Brewers announced 3 additional theme nights for the upcoming season that you can buy special ticket packages for. They're going to have a Pokemon Go night. They're going to have a Sesame Street night as well. But the fun one for me is Backyard Baseball Night on June 3rd against the San Francisco Giants. It's a Wednesday night, but Wednesday night, June 3rd against the Giants. Backyard Baseball Night with a Pablo Sanchez bobblehead. Pablo Sanchez, a secret weapon, absolute best player in backyard baseball, 100%. I put him in my 2-hole in the lineup every single time. Dude hit bombs all the time. Absolutely loved Pablo Sanchez. Favorite player in backyard baseball. So you're going to get a bobblehead there. You're going to have, backyard baseball themed stuff probably on the scoreboard as well. Like when I was growing up, when I was a kid, that was the game. Playing, on the desktop computer and playing way too long. Parents yelling at me, "You've been on that computer too long. Get off of there. Go touch grass," something. But still, it was just so fun. Winning title after title in backyard baseball. Absolutely. But it's fantastic. I love the Brewers leaning into the nostalgia here. I love getting a backyard baseball theme night. I think that's absolutely fantastic. I think you need to lean into more stuff like this. And I'm excited for kind of like all the people my age who played backyard baseball to be like, oh my God, like I need to go to this game. I need to get this ticket package. I want to see that bobblehead. They haven't released a picture of what the Pablo Sanchez Brewers bobblehead is going to look like. But you get Pablo Sanchez with a Brewers logo somewhere on there. That's just going to be an incredible collector's item. I want a piece of that. Absolutely. So that's the theme night coming up on June 3rd. But also, you do have the other theme nights as well that the Brewers have announced. You got Pokemon Go night, which is going to be on June 17th against the Cleveland Guardians. And then on August 9th against the Twins is going to be Sesame Street Day. And that's a Sunday, so day game. Oscar the Grouch bobblehead. If you're interested in that, if you got the young kids that love Sesame Street, that'd be a great game to go to as well. So, yeah, a couple extra theme nights. Great things for the fans. Great things to get people in the stadium. So, very, very fun coming up here for the season. And what also was a lot of fun was the World Baseball Classic. Now, the United States of America did not win in this one. I was wearing my Home of the Brave baseballism shirt. but alas, it did not bring a victory for the United States of America. Had some chances, but you lose 3-2. Eugenio Suarez comes up clutch in the ninth inning after Bryce Harper hit the big two-run homer to tie it in the eighth inning to have that big clutch moment. Bryce Terang, I mean, he had the first base hit for Team USA, and they did not do much offensively for the first 7-8 innings of the game until Harper got into one. Terang had just one of the two hits. Terang was hitting 400 in the World Baseball Classic. Terang absolutely showed out this entire time. Several extra base hits. And in terms of just how he impressed the rest of his teammates, I mean, superstars across the league, Bryce Terang raised his profile a ton with this World Baseball Classic and what he did for Team USA. So, I'm very glad to see that. I'm glad to see that he's going to be getting some more recognition here across the league. Seeing guys like Kyle Schwarber and Bryce Harper and Aaron Judge, and seeing them talk about Bryce Harper or Bryce Terang and just how good he is and how much he's got power in there. They're like, dang, I didn't even know. Like, he is impressing everybody, but the USA comes up short to Venezuela, who just had an absolutely incredible run, an incredible team. I mean, they are a baseball crazed country. I mean, that is a country where, organizations are flocking to all the time in order to sign these international guys, right? The international free agents. It's Venezuela and the Dominican Republic. Those are the two powerhouses there in Latin America. And the Dominican Republic gets all the headlines for their, star-studded roster that they have, but Venezuela is right up there with that group. And the Brewers had 3 players in there: Jackson Churio, obviously, William Contreras, and Angel Zerpa. Zerpa, another couple of strikeouts in this game, in the championship game, and just looking absolutely nasty. But Zerpa in there. And then also, can't forget the coach, Nestor Corredor, one of the Brewers' assistant coaches. He was he was technically called the batting practice pitcher for Team Venezuela, which he does a lot for the Brewers, okay? Nestor Corredor, he throws batting practice for the Brewers, among other things. Got lots of responsibilities, but great dude, great guy, and just happy for all those dudes. Happy for Venezuela. They deserve it. They've had some trying years in Venezuela. So for them to get their first WBC championship, I think that's awesome. I think it's great to see Jackson Churio be a part of it, even though he did not have the best game in the championship there. Great to see William Contreras, all those guys be a part of it, and to be able to celebrate with their countrymen. That's what the World Baseball Classic's all about. And so just bringing them together, and for the fans in Venezuela to be able to see that, I think that's absolutely great for them. Something their country has very much been looking forward to, and because they love baseball so much down there, and they supply so many great baseball players. So for them to be able to get this, it's great. It sucks for Team USA. Obviously, I mean, I was rooting for Team USA. I'm an American through and through, but just wasn't meant to be this year. I mean, they had the dream team, I guess, but the offense just really shut down over the final 2 games. They were not able to get much going. It wasn't quite like when they were facing Brazil or when they were facing, some of those other teams, Great Britain in pool play. They couldn't quite get as many runs going and just really struggled. They struck out quite a bit. They're, hitting weak grounders and pop-ups and seemed like they were pressing, trying too hard, but I mean, they even pulled out the Team USA hockey jerseys that they rolled up to the field in, but just not quite able to get the win. And they fall short here of that WBC championship. But good for Venezuela. And now, finally, thankfully, all these Brewers have made it through uninjured. I think that's the important part for me. All of them made it through unhurt. Churio's unhurt. Contreras, Terang, all those guys not hurt, despite Manny Machado's best efforts to try and spike Terang at second base the other day. That was ridiculous. But still, that didn't happen. Everyone's uninjured. And now they're going to be flying back to Arizona, rejoining the Brewers at spring training, and then getting ready for the regular season. So it's going to be a lot of fun getting those regulars back. I think that will also help the Brewers make some more roster cut-down decisions once they get these 4 players back into spring training. And I mean, these are some pretty regular guys. You got 3 regular pieces of your starting lineup that were out, and you got a guy who's going to be pretty much a lock for your bullpen. I mean, after you strike out Ohtani and put up the types of stuff that you were doing, I think you got to be a lock for the bullpen. So, World Baseball Classic is through. It was a lot of fun. Congrats to Venezuela. Can't wait to do this again in 3 years. And hopefully we'll have some more Brewers pitchers on Team USA this next time around. We need some more Brewers on Team USA. Bryce Trang is great. I think he should be back there again. But let's get some more Brewers on it next time around. Maybe then they'll do some more winning. So be sure to subscribe, get notified when new episodes drop here on Brewers Daily every single day as we are getting ready for opening day coming up soon. Follow me on Twitter at dgasper24. Appreciate you watching, and we'll see you again next time for another episode of Brewers Daily.